Found it.
Okay, now if you guys want, you can go to the podcast playground on YouTube. That's our channel. And this is gonna be live. And then if you want, you can just share it later after we're done.
Oh, found it.
All right, I'll bring the bed back. And here we go. What's up, everybody? We'd like to welcome you to another episode of Wide Awoke. I've got B-Dog, Leslie, and newcomer to the Wide Awoke stage, we have Veronica. We've got a lot to get into. I mean, Brian, you've been talking this baby blood drinking and Rothschilds taking over the world and corrupting our world for many years. And it seems like, especially the human trafficking, child trafficking, has gotten a lot more, at least, bandwidth on the internet, if you will. Seeing more and more people talk about it, which it's good because we've got 150,000 people that died of COVID-19, but we have like 800,000 kids that go missing every single year. So why are we not talking about the kids? Why are we so worried about COVID? Not to say that anybody's death is worth more than another, but we should at least look at other causes. So let's get into it. There's been some things that have come up recently. We have seen some arrests. Jeffrey Epstein went down. Giselle, or how do you say her name?
Ghislaine.
I call her Ghislaine because it looks like she's been hanging out on Ghislaine with, it's kind of disgusting. It is disgusting what's been going on. First, I would like to bring on our newcomer, Veronica, first and foremost. Welcome to the show. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me. You guys could call me V because Veronica's too long. And when you're screaming at me, just call me V.
All right, V. Easy enough. So, V, at what point, as we call this show Wide Awoke, because we try to make sure we dig through all the headlines and try to find the truth. But at what point did you become woke? What moment did you decide, like, hey, this stuff doesn't make sense? Or when did you first get woke, if you will?
Well, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but like, I guess when I was like still a kid, because I grew up in the ghetto. So when you grow up in the ghetto, you see so much crime and stuff going on that you understand corruption and survival. So you already know the system's rigged when you're a kid, when you grow up in the hood. So at like 12, 13, I started doing like research on like secret societies, religion, because I like lost my faith. Because I was like, why are there priests in my church abusing kids? Why are there criminals just walking around freely? So then you start to learn that there's all this corruption and you kind of either figure out how to join it, how to fight it, or how to shimmy and infiltrate it. So I decided I'll just shimmy and infiltrate it. You know, play dumb as if you don't know, but drop red pills. So I guess I was woke at maybe like 7.
So when you say red pills and blue pills, we've talked about this on the show, but to the people that maybe we're trying to give a pill to, because I'm trying to keep up with this thing, I'm kind of in the middle, trying to understand. I'm consuming the information, but what pill do you want to give someone when you want to wake them up to some of these things that are really going on?
Well, when you divide it into like the red pill, the blue pill, left, right, when you start dividing it, that's when people instantly shut you off and they just want to fight. Because all they heard was, you're against what I believe my whole life. So the way I like to do it is I like to actually drop historical facts. So when you drop historical facts, you can't really fight or deny that Hitler existed. You can't really fight or deny that wars have been premeditated, that the Khazarian mafia has taken over all aspects of industry. You can't really defute that because I can show you the proof here. So I guess that's the pill, is we want to drop truthful, factual pills, like Tic Tacs.
Yeah, kind of like a little Tic Tac, fresh in your breath. Leslie, you recently were out marching in the streets. I saw you holding up signs. You were peacefully protesting. You were marching for a cause. Tell us a little bit more about what you were involved with this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 30th, July 30th was National Human Trafficking Awareness Day, or Trafficking in Persons Day. And so the organization that I'm a part of, Operation Underground Railroad, they organized these protests all over the country, really all over the world. People came together through what was called Rise Up for Children, was our cause. And so we just went out and created awareness with a couple of other volunteers here in the area, which is awesome. It's growing so rapidly now. It's amazing. And one of the other volunteers, Mimi from down south, she organized it at Coconut Point Mall, because I did not know this, but Coconut Point Mall is the #1 location in Collier County for human trafficking, in Lee Collier County for trafficking. That mall, I had no idea. So that's why I was there. We went out on the street. There was a couple hundred people. We had signs. We were screaming. We got, people aware of what was going on, all to lead up to the live stream that the cause was doing live out in Utah, which was huge. Thousands of people showed up. It was absolutely amazing. They raised millions of dollars to go out and fight human trafficking. And Tim Ballard is literally changing the world. That man's changing the world. So
Brian, maybe you can tie it together for me. We talked to V. She talked about some of the deep state and some of the corruption that goes on. And then we just talked to Leslie. And of course, she's following the movement of human trafficking. How does it all tie together? Because, if you're looking at it on the surface, you might say apples to oranges. But it really is interesting how it seems like it all kind of ties together when I hear the story told.
Yeah, I think everything is actually all tied together in one giant web, or it wouldn't be held together at all. It's they say like people who want to infiltrate the mafia, they're like, it's gonna take 20 years. I mean, you have to get in there, you have to witness crimes that go on. I think with all of these different conspiracies that we bring up, they're tied together all in one, because they're all having to protect each other. It's like a house of cards. When one comes down, they all come down. And when you think about like how many people it would take to actually control the world, I don't think it's that many people, right? I mean, let's just think about it right now. Congress, senators, people that make laws and pass laws, how many of them are there? Right?
500.
Yeah, total, a few hundred. How many people do you think are in top positions in the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, that are like our key positions where people are, it's like, this, the ones you got to protect? 1,000, maybe. So now
probably like 5,000.
5,000. Okay. So I'll even take that number, 5,000. So now let's go here. How many CEOs of companies would it take, whether it's shipping, whether it's stadiums, NFL owners, I'm just trying to think of different areas that control our narrative, that control that. How many would you say CEOs there?
Well, 13,000 have stepped down. So if you take media and everybody, I'm going to say there's at least 100,000 in the United States.
Way more.
That are not, and I'm not saying they're in control. They are controlled. They are a part of, you see, the reason why it's held together through the human trafficking is because the human trafficking is the finance behind it and the corruption that has allowed them to control so many. Because if they didn't partake, they were accomplices and are now, hey, we have you at this island, you're blackmailed just for being there, even though you didn't even do anything. Now they're controlled as well. So that was the part of control, so that they could infiltrate. They had to gain control through corrupting enough people high up that then they could infiltrate their people in and now get to where we are 20, 30 years later. Did you guys see the thing that just came out about Donald Trump, where they're now almost able to prove that he's been an undercover asset for the CIA since 1971?
I did hear that. Yeah.
What is the proof? What is the actual proof you found, Leslie? Has it been disclosed?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to do all of the research, but there is enough people posting about it that I believe that, and I've already believed it. It's now that there's documents being released.
So what's going on is there's some documentation that's going out that is, the courts have ruled to protect the names of certain people involved in investigations with Donald Trump because they're informants for the FBI, which is suggesting that Donald Trump has been working as an informant with the FBI for a while, based on these papers and these rulings by the courts, and saying that they can't look at this information. So Leslie, you know how you just said 100,000 people probably maybe would be involved. Well, just think about Germany. Did you hear recently in Germany?
Oh, I thought you meant just the US.
Well, I'm just talking in general. We're saying ruling the world. How many people in positions? And you said 100,000 or maybe this country, but just know in Germany, 30,000 people in one city were busted for child pornography and a big ring. And that's in one city, 30,000 people. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal, I think, to have 100,000 people that were shady involved in something. Do you,
I mean,
Veronica?
we know
Or
there's
V?
there's 170,000 sealed indictments. So
Well, I think there's way more than that involved, because if we go back like in history, like we're not talking about the last 40 years, right? The last couple decades. Again, when the Khazarians started, they started off as thieves and murderers and basically bullies of cities. And they infiltrated religion and all aspects of the world, basically, whether that was judges, political, CEOs, all this. So this is going back to the 800 AD. That, like, this is how far back these people have been putting themselves. Remember, they all bred within the same families because they wanted to stay, a purest breed, all in with this kind of criminal activity. So these people run all parts of our world. So when you're thinking about the big guys, you got to think about the footmen, the people in the cities, in the hood, the gang members that they pay, the judges, the cops they pay. This shit is so big. It's literally a fucking web of just criminal activities for decades upon decades. Like, these people are fucking trash.
When you hear the stories that, there's the drug trade out there, we've always heard about the drug trade. Then you hear about guns moving from border to border and guns, illegal guns that move around. And then children is right up there. I hear it's number 3. So we were talking about the different pillars and the way that you could kind of control the world. I know that me and Brian have had the conversation, but you talk about the banking system. If you can control the money, if you can control the energy. I know that
that's what they did. They literally took over the banking system. The Rothschilds literally manipulated and took over the banking system, and they just print out their fake fucking money. We pay interest. They control us. They literally, from everything that we fucking do, they run it. From this drug trade, remember, they're the ones in Afghanistan that are holding these fucking poppy fields hostage. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that own pharmaceutical companies that are getting me and you hooked on fucking pills and shit. These people are fucking sick.
It's funny. I think back whenever people say, oh, it's a conspiracy. And it's like, well, at what point, especially with as much as we've learned lately, do we at least acknowledge some of them might be true? And if you acknowledge that just some of it might be true, then doesn't that start the steamrolling of like, what else could be out there? I'm a guy that started with 9/11 V. That's when I started 9/11.
I'm here for it. I'm here for that shit.
Girl, it was crazy how my eyes opened up on that one. Now, I had already read all the JFK assassination stuff. So I was a big JFK buff. I had the big book that the movie was based on by Jim Mars, and it would just be in my bathroom. People have those little bathroom books that are full of facts. Well, mine were just a bunch of facts of the JFK assassination. I constantly know so much about it. I went to Dallas a couple of times. I did the tour, and I was like, oh, crazy. So maybe, when the facts for 9/11 started coming out to me, I was willing to accept already that there could be shady stuff going on. So that for me already was the big ticket. And so you see George Bush and the Bush family involved with that, right? And then we talked about all of this, the poppy fields in Afghanistan and how we went over there and what was going on in Florida while Jeb Bush was the governor. What was going on in our state? We had pill factories just nonstop. And what did they do? They shut them down right when the 9/11 poppy fields are ready, and then heroin is readily available for everyone to take. It's just, I don't know. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Let's just say you were totally closed-minded, right? Like, you just came out into the world and all this crazy shit, right? It's hard to believe. But if you just look at the news, the actual arrests, we caught 2 of the largest human traffickers on this planet. If that doesn't wake your mind up into seeing this isn't a conspiracy, because Ghislaine had fucking submarines. These people had private jets. They have transportation companies, nonprofits with children. These people are so highly sophisticated in their criminal empire that it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to just look and say, oh shit, this shit is totally possible. They were trafficking kids globally.
Let's play a game right now. Let's have fun, guys. Let's go around the horn here and let's talk about random facts or random things you've heard about Jeffrey Epstein or Epstein's Island. And let's just start throwing them out there. I'll start right now. How about the fact that supposedly, and I've seen it, that Disney had actual cruises that went to his island with children with like pizza parties that they went to, and it had the logo as the same as his his little mosque or whatever, his temple. The coloring and the markings were all the same as Ellen's set. Isn't that kind of weird? I don't know. I think that's weird.
What's not weird is that, first of all, Disney worked with the CIA back in the days. They worked doing projects like MK Ultra, stuff like that, how to push propaganda, how to manipulate the mind with television. The patent for television is mind manipulation. So to think that Disney wasn't involved when Disney has literally had multiple arrests, pedophiles, CEOs step down, they've been involved in a lot of criminal activity, and Disney has hired some of the most prolific fucking pedophiles. Look that shit up.
Look at their children. Look at the kids that have been raised up through the Disney program, if you will, the MK Ultra program, that are stars right now and have supposedly been, abused, like Justin Bieber. If you would watch maybe some of the videos that's put out there. Leslie, let me ask you a question. Disney, our children, you've seen the cartoons, you've seen the movies, like what's the one where it is exactly like adrenochrome stealing? Monsters Inc. Have you seen Monsters Inc. ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 kids. Of course I've seen it. We watched it till the disc burned up and we got another one. I could probably regurgitate all the words to that movie if necessary. But at the, you think about way back, because I kind of woke up at 9/11 too. Not really, though. I'll be honest. I lived on a military base. I was a military wife. I had just gotten out of the military and my husband went in the military, and I was on a base with 26 generals. So we locked down for almost 9 months before we were allowed to leave the post. It was crazy. And so, but I saw it on TV. I was like, was that really a plane? Did that really just happen? Like, I mean, but what you see after that and what we did, and then to learn later about Building 7, I started researching. I was a wife. I sat at home and did nothing. Like, all I had time to do was go, what's going on here? But it took a long time for a lot of it to come out. It wasn't like we knew about what even Building 7 was right away. Like, what? Where was that? Or why the Pentagon was so important, right? Why, what connected the Pentagon to Building 7, So, but yes, Monsters Inc. Disney is sick, satanic. I mean, they have an entire city under Disney World, tunnels. I mean, how far down does it go? It goes far. And I don't know if you guys follow Charles Homseth. Do you know who he is? A Pentagon pedophile task force. Mm-hmm. He's the one who actually broke the Jeffrey Epstein case this time, where he was able to connect the money, the trafficking through the Israeli or embassy through the US is where the money was coming from, through Epstein. This is how they were able to connect it, where they were actually able to take him down. And he also worked on the Kaylee Anthony and the Haley Cummings and JonBenet Ramsey. And he was an award-winning journalist. Then he was, of course, what they do, he was arrested on false charges. And according to him, the Pentagon came and got him out, which it doesn't look like anything else is different. And now he reports on what the Pentagon is doing. Like, he was reporting on the tunnels under the Central Park, the pop-up tent medical facility they put there, that they were actually bringing the children out from the tunnels.
Now, do you think that really was going on? Let's go to that specific subject, because I want to speak from the heart of the people who are believers, who are conspiracy followers, who are following Q, who are following the people that are posting on the boards when they say that the Comfort and the Mercy were actually there to pull children out of tunnels because they were in these DUMBs, these military underground bunkers. Do you really think that that's what was going on? I can say I follow George Magazine on Twitter. Now, George Magazine, for anyone who doesn't know, this is JFK Jr.'s old baby, where it was an intelligence magazine where, his whole thing was about finding out who killed his father and exposing them, a conspiracy, if you will, magazine. that made some very interesting predictions, by the way. But that being said, they were on the boat and they did a whole bunch of pictures, and they had like, did you guys see any of those pictures from George Magazine off of Twitter from the boat, supposedly?
Yeah.
It
No,
was
but I did see where there was a guy that was in a runaway train, or he took over a train and tried to run it into one of the boats. And he ended up getting derailed. That seemed kind of weird that somebody's going to try to run a train into a boat that's there to try to save COVID patients.
yeah, but if there were children in there, they were saving children, and he was trying to expose that, then I bet maybe that would be a reason for them to try to run the train off the track. But they did have a lot of crazy pictures that were coming out of George Magazine from inside the Comfort. Then the people looked like disformed. It looked like disfigured children, if you will. So now look, this is where, as a follower of all this, I got a little bit kind of discouraged because those boats went home. They said nobody was on them. You know, nothing came out of it. You know, V, what do you think happened there?
Okay, now if we're gonna look at, like, let's say the statistics, the actual numbers. So if over 800,000 children go missing a year in the United States, you got to think that doesn't just involve children; it also involves adults, stuff like that. It's not just the ice cream van that snatches you up. This is a very sophisticated plan. These people, you got to think, even from Mexico, they're bringing people in through underground tunnels. They're trafficking children and humans. So using the tunnel system isn't a far-fetched thing, because multiple arrests have been made while using this tunnel system. That's why there's a whole military platoon that's set up just for these types of missions. So this isn't a far-fetched idea, and it's actually a very smart idea to save those people, because homeless people go into sewers, so do traffickers. So it's not a crazy thing, you know?
This is where it gets kind of weird, though, to me, when we start talking about conspiracies, is that you guys tell me what they do with these babies and why there's such a high value for them. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm new to this party. I'm trying to understand these weird things going on in the world. But the adrenochrome, I mean, is that the main value? I mean, why would you want to hurt a young child? Why would you want to sexually abuse a child? What's the value in grabbing a child from Haiti and bringing it over an underground tunnel and bringing it here? What is the value of that? Can you explain that to me?
Oh, I could break it down.
I'll leave that one to you, girl. Yeah, you do it.
So now if we go back in time, and we go and we look at things through the religious aspect, right? In some cultures, you know, people who practice voodoo or whatever, they sacrifice goats, they do this, they do that. A lot of these things are religious based because these people practice satanic Luciferian worship, black magic, right? So they're into that. But you got to think also, remember, we're organ donors, right? Organs cost a lot of money. So the illegal organ trade is a huge thing. So you're worth more dead to these people than you are alive. So it's when you start thinking, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. How many serial killers have not been arrested? And they were just killing people for fun. Now think about the ones killing for money. Of course, they're going to be more sophisticated. Of course, they're going to find ways to hide you and to come out, you know, make money off of you, basically. Look, I can pimp you out to a bunch of guys or girls, whatever the fuck. I can sell your organs. I can get the adrenaline. That shit is worth thousands just for a fucking hit. Shit, they could make easily 300,000-400,000 off of you right now.
You say,
why not do it?
What does that mean? Like when you're saying a hit, like how do you hit a child? How does that work?
Meaning adrenaline. I'm not talking about hitting a child. You kill a child. You got to think, when you're older, your body is more susceptible to toxins, all types of stuff, right? So your body is not going to respond to trauma the same way an innocent child. A child hasn't developed all those defense mechanisms. And I'm speaking from experience because I am a survivor of that type of sexual child abuse. So when I tell you, you develop coping skills to deal with that type of shit. But think about a child that's been abducted, that they're going to torture to get that adrenaline out. Because you got to think, when you have an allergic reaction, what do they give you? An EpiPen. Shocks your fucking heart, gets you to stop. Now think about traumatizing a child and grabbing that. When you do that, like a line of coke, this is going to hit you even stronger. So to them, that is a drug. That is considered the drug of the elite, the youth serum to the rich. That's why they're always promoting shit with plasma, and we're going to do fucking kid serum and sperm in your face. You ever notice that all these creams have crazy shit?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Celebrities are always promoting vampire facials and all this gross, disgusting shit. Our vaccines have fetus
Sandra
fucking
Bullock.
cells.
Yeah, Sandra
She's
Bullock did
gross.
one where she had baby dicks on her face. Literally, she was talking about it was made out of baby dicks.
But
Fuck
what
that. I
she's
don't want none
talking
of that
about,
shit.
she's talking about a hit means adrenochrome. You just take like a drop of it. It's not like you drink all their blood. You'd overdose. You can't.
No.
You go crazy. It's like almost a psychedelic when you do that.
Mhm.
But it's like you take a drop of it, and you can only get it by terrorizing a child and killing them and
Mhm.
draining their blood.
How
Then
is this been able to
drill out their pineal gland and eat it.
How do you
Think
think
about
they can keep this from us finding out? I mean, eventually, isn't there someone that's like, wow, this is pretty dark, deep, bad stuff going on? I think I should tell somebody.
Yeah,
But this is the thing. People don't tell because you got to remember they're in this society. So like me who worked in entertainment, you know that the judges and the cops are bought off and there's bad people all over out to get you if you fucking speak. But if you look up the patent, they've been making synthetic adrenochrome for fucking decades. So they've just been hiding it from us because the TV and media only shows us what they want, which is our race wars and our bullshit. They don't show you what the fuck the real enemy is, which is them.
I'm very woke to the fact that I wouldn't put it past the CIA to infiltrate our media, because as you do your research and you find out that we talked about MK Ultra, you know, back in the 50s, I believe, all the way through the 70s, the CIA had a program in which they gave psychedelics to Americans that had no idea, watched them through a fishbowl. By the way, I was surprised. This is full disclosure on the internet, many sources. The CIA, our government, decided it would be a good idea to play with psychedelic drugs as they became popular in the 60s and just give them to Americans, and you would, you know, start feeling good. And meanwhile, on the other side of the piece of glass, there's a couple members of the CIA taking notes, seeing how you react to said psychedelic drugs. So to think that a government agency like the CIA, they would do this to Americans without them knowing and out their consent, that they wouldn't have and again, I love this guy's name, Wolf Blitzer. Like they wouldn't feed you a guy with, I mean, who names their kid Wolf Blitzer? That sounds like a name straight out of the farm CIA, if you ask me. But I think people can't be naive to think that the media can't be bought and paid for, or some of these reporters aren't officially government employees. I mean, if you aren't at least that woke, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Agreed?
The Egyptians experimented on human beings, literally. Like they would create, like manipulate their brain, take parts out. Like they've been using us as guinea pigs forever. Whatever culture you get into, whatever part in history you get into, from Hitler, what were they doing? They were literally torturing the Jews. They were using fluoride. They were using all these horrible things to them, like even the MK Ultra shit, manipulating the mind. So it's crazy that people find it so hard to believe when you can find arrests and like actual studies. Like it's not a made up thing. Remember, Geraldo went to that psychiatric center. Remember when he did that in the 80s? I remember being a kid watching that shit. What did he see? They were fucking doing lobotomies, all types of shit to people. It's not far-fetched.
I think the thing too that throws people for a loop that are living in the mainstream, when you hear names like Tom Hanks and even myself, you know, I love that movie Big. I love Woody. I love Toy Story. And I still want to give Tom Hanks the benefit of the doubt at this point. I'm still hanging on that Tom is a good dude. It sounds like Ellen.
By the way, Big.
Some
What was that story about?
Big. It was
It was so cute.
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very good movie.
I love that movie.
But what
happened?
What happened?
Tom Hanks is in it.
And he was a child that had an adult girlfriend.
Had sex with her.
I know, it's so
What?
cringy, but it was such a cute movie. It's so cringy.
But he was really a grown-up in a kid's
But,
body.
well, was he? That's
was
what they
just
want us to
cringy.
believe. See, that's what they want us to believe, is that children are actually can be adults inside, and therefore it's okay.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
she
they're
do?
always trying to fucking fuck with your head.
What?
These people are sick.
You're not even seeing the real deal of it, you know?
Mhm.
so
They
so
sell
Tom-
you the dream. While they manipulate you, they sell you the dream.
So what you guys are saying pretty much is that eventually we're going to see Tom Hanks in handcuffs. Do you think they'll ever be able?
Well,
get to
mean,
someone like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really even in Greece, that's just a picture, if he's still in Gitmo. It's hard to say. If he squealed enough, maybe he cut himself a deal enough to get to Greece, but I think he's probably dead. That's probably not a real picture. And I think one day we'll get to see it, but who knows?
And
I
then
don't know why they can't just bring it all out at once, because I guess it's still, you've got to think about, Ginger, you said, how could someone do this, right? It's because we have normal thinking brains, okay? And I can tell you this because I have an ex-husband who's bipolar. Now he doesn't, abuse children. He's not abusive, but he thinks way different than I do. He sees the world, like what he thinks right and wrong is completely different than what I do. And we're dealing with people who for they were born into a family that has no regard for the sheep. Those are just the people that are discardable. We got to just get rid of them. We're slaves to them. They're making money off of us. And if they're not making enough money off of us, then they're even less needed in the world. They're the first ones that they're doing all this crazy shit to. But in the end, we can see the end game. We're here. We are in the end game of their end game. 2030 is the end of their plan. And
what's at the end of 2030? What happens then?
That's when there's full new world order. That's their plan. But they didn't expect Trump. They didn't expect Trump to win. And they certainly didn't expect him to have enough power and the resources to actually take them down. They thought, oh, impeach Russia. We'll get this. But 11 days after the impeachment, we got Corona. What do we call it now? The election infection, right? 11 days.
I haven't heard that.
What, the election infection? Yeah, I didn't make that up. That's plagiarized. I don't know who to give credit to. Unknown. Hashtag unknown. Thank you. But, and Veronica, I'll leave, V, tell us more about,
it's so crazy to me because if you even look back into the Georgia Guidestones, you look into Henry Kissinger, who literally said even back in the 70s, the only way to control a society is by making them fear the unknown. Then you look into JFK, who said, we do not want secret societies. I want to make all this information and technology public. He was going to change the fucking world. This guy, no matter what they said about JFK, oh, he had hot pants or whatever, that dude had a good heart. So you got to think, they killed his ass, right? So now here's his kid. Now here's his family. If you don't think for a second, these people have been trying to get fucking even and find a way to bring down the cabal, you'd be fucking mistaken. So the fact that no one believes it, that there's a way that, how did Donald Trump get in here, right? All of a sudden he's rich, he's America's darling, right? He's on TV, he's doing The Apprentice. Everybody loved him. Then as soon as he ran, everybody hated him. You know why? Because once the cabal figured out that he was not with it, he just played the fucking role. I know, I see it happen all the time in the entertainment industry. People know that this shit is happening, but as long as it doesn't happen in front of them, they turn a blind eye and they just maneuver in while they're gathering information the whole time. That's what he fucking did. He's been doing this shit for decades because that was his family. He loved John F. Kennedy Jr. So if you don't think that these people have been working to fucking take their asses down, hell yeah, they have. That's why we're getting red pill. That's why all this shit's coming out, because it's going down.
Let me go and ask a couple of questions right now, because for people on the internet right now, if you go on Facebook, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see people posting vaccines, 5G, we're all going to die from that. You see people posting that human trafficking and pedophilia, John Legend, Chris Teigen, Ellen, you see that side, people posting that now on Facebook. You see people posting that Barack Obama, he spied on the president and, they did it. So all these things are out there on Facebook now, which I was doing for almost 3 years now I've been doing, but everyone pretty much disassociated themselves with me. That was a liberal. People who were in the middle who didn't like the way I was acting, defriended me. Gentry right here, my best friend for 20 years, his dad defriended me. And I mean, we love each other. His dad defriended me. So, you know, I've lost a lot of people over it, but the word is out there. People are kind of getting woke, but there's some pretty crazy conspiracies out there that are getting floating, you know, that have been floating around. I'd like to ask your guys' opinion on a couple of these conspiracy theories and where you stand on it. First one, there's a large conspiracy that Donald Trump is going to end the Fed. We're going to go to a gold-backed standard, and we're going to go into this thing called Nezera Jezera, where supposedly all these secrets are going to get unlocked, these patents that have been held on to forever, including free energy, and that, you know, there'll be no more debt for everybody. We'll have all our debts forgiven. Do you think that's a possibility or just a wild rumor? I'll let, you know, V, you go first.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, well, let's think about it again. The Rothschilds took over the banking system. They've been printing out this fake fucking money. Remember, they're fucking magical magicians that practice black money magic. So to them, they found a way to enslave us with this fucking fake paper debt. So of course, it would only make sense to somehow break down the Fed. So then that way we can actually back our shit. Back in the days, people bartered. People use gold, silver, here's my fucking cow, my wife, whatever the fuck it was. Doesn't seem far-fetched because this is fake fucking paper. Like, so yeah, let's give out some stimulus checks. Let's pay for some shit. Let's seize all their fucking assets because they're going to seize all these criminals' assets. Don't think when they don't get Bill Gates' ass, we're not going to fucking all get a payout from that. All these criminals will one day be paying for our life to be fucking at peace again and fair, you know?
Reparations.
Right?
Oh, us.
This shit is written in the Bible. Like, whether you believe it or not, or believe in fucking psychics or any of that shit, people have been talking about this shit for decades and centuries and shit. It's biblical. They say it's biblical for a reason. Now it's being exposed. Why? Because we got a clean house, honey. This shit is not cool.
You
Fucking
able to see
done.
the future, V? Can you see into the future, baby? Because
Absolutely. I died last March after post-op from my surgery from an arterial bleed. When I tell you a bitch saw heaven, a bitch saw heaven. Just because I have a thumb up, I'm still a Christian. I totally believe that Jesus Christ, whoever you believe in, is cleaning house, and these fucking criminals will pay, and we will one day live the way we were intended to live, which is peaceful, loving people. This shit is fucked up.
do you think good will win over evil?
It always does. It always does. Do you ever see karma fuck up somebody's life? They're
all
doing
the time.
wrong. Then all of a sudden they fucking, some crazy shit happens to them. Look at Bernie Madoff. The motherfucker ruined people's lives, robbing people blind. Where the fuck is he now? His son killed himself.
Harvey Weinstein, he's another guy that went down recently that was a scumbag.
First of all, Harvey Weinstein had a fucked up genitals and creepy shit going on with him. He deserves every piece of fucking hell on fire. Fuck that guy. Fuck all these people. They're all going to die, period.
Okay, so what about you, Leslie? Do you think that we're gonna have some type of like secret unveiling of a bunch of like new or patents that are gonna be unreleased, free energy, and all these great things? Do you think this is coming in these medical releases? Do you think they're on the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I mean, you know, in order to take down the cabal, three things had to happen: the Vatican, the crown, the Fed. The Vatican has fallen, the crown, we know, fallen. And like I said, the first stimulus reversed the Fed and the Treasury through the SPVs.
Mhm.
And if you read that and understood it, you know that right now we are printing money at 0% interest, Treasury bonds, and the Fed is on the hook for the debt, not the Treasury. That's why they're just pumping it out, because they're going to turn around and go, we're not paying, we default. We're going to crash, the dollar will crash, and it will turn back to a gold-backed dollar. And there was just a news article that came out that said it looked like it was October that the gold-backed dollar was coming. So, you know, once they do that, this last stimulus is it. That's why it's being held up, because they know they are going to bankrupt the Fed with this. They've already started seizing assets from people. That money is what's coming back in and will pay us. It will pay off the debt. We won't have any debt. They're going to bankrupt. We have no debt. It's written off. The trillions, however many trillions, it's all fake debt.
And there was an executive order that was written by Donald Trump when he first came into office. If you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that he is fighting human trafficking to save the world. Well, he did write an executive order when he first came into office that said, we're going to seize your assets and all your property if you're involved with human abuse and, things like that. And immediately a bunch of people started resigning and getting rid of their money and moving their money, switching their money, Soros, Rothschild, selling big estates.
Yeah, and listen, and they just, in this last executive order where he cut these middlemen out of big pharma, right? Billions and billions and billions of dollars. I mean, you got to think the Rothschilds alone are worth what? $500 trillion, right? We're talking quadrillions of dollars since 9/11 that they have been illegally making off of us, because Nassaro was supposed to be announced that day at 8 in the whatever, or 10 o'clock in the morning. Instead, they knocked down some towers not to do it.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Why is it taking so long? I mean, guys,
Because
the election is V, I see your face over there. Don't freak out on me yet. Hold that in for a second. Let me get my thoughts out, because what I'm saying is,
taking so long
at this point, taking so long because the election's a couple of months away.
And what, 3.5 years to undo thousands?
Well, at what point though? At what point, if we have all the evidence, if they have everything, they've got the video, they have everything. At what point do you not just swoop in and pull them out of power, pull the Soros out, pull the Rothschilds out?
They will blow up the White House if he tried to do that right now. They would blow the White House up.
But if they know it's coming, why wouldn't they do it anyway?
Our country. Because they still believe that they're going to get out of this. They still believe that Biden will win in November and this will all go away. They are not giving up until the last moment. But I can guarantee you, if Trump wins, the indictments for Huma and Podesta are dated for the 5th.
I got another conspiracy I want to ask everyone about, because this one really hits me hard. I got 2 children that are in school, and we're about ready to send our kids back to school. And you see these school shootings. And there's a part of me, and I've read the conspiracy that maybe one of the reasons why we haven't been gathering at ballparks and stadiums, and we haven't been having our children at school, and we haven't been going to church. I've heard the conspiracy that it's because the Trump team that's trying to stop this is not wanting us in large gatherings, because then maybe we'll have another incident like we had in Las Vegas at the big country concert, or maybe what we had happened in Aurora at the movie theater. These shootings, the Parkland shooting, different types of school shootings as well. So do you guys believe in that conspiracy, that maybe there's a possibility that we're not having large gatherings because they're concerned?
Well, what's happening at large gatherings right now?
Well, there isn't any.
Yeah, there is. There's protests, peaceful protests. What's happening at those?
But what I'm saying is do you believe that there's a reason why we're not having 50,000 people pack in a stadium or 500 people go to church, because there's a concern for mass shootings? Because we had a run where we had a lot of mass shootings. And if I'm evil and I want to dethrone the current administration, I might throw that out there like, hey, you want to keep playing games? I'm going to show up at the ballpark and I'm going to blow all you motherfuckers up if you're really evil. I mean, is that possible? I'm just throwing that out there. What do you think, V?
Oh, God, this is just a fucking mess. All right. So if it took the feds over 7 years of undercover investigation to bring down the mob, right? Just to bring down the mob. And that's, you figure maybe 100, 200 motherfuckers, couple main dudes bring it down. And like Leslie said, this shit has been happening so long that everything has to be handled legally. Meaning, if we fuck up any part of this investigation, it can all crumble. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming with it, is that you got to think this shit has to be so strategically done. And certain things can't leak because we have to protect witnesses. You know what I'm saying? We can't fuck it up just to rush it. So what they're doing is very smart, because you don't want to fuck that up. Look at what happened with Epstein. Unless he was moved to Gitmo.
I think he was moved. I don't think he, I mean, after the first time with everything that happened, you've got to figure there would never let that guy be by himself like that. He would be.
What about paying someone off to have him killed? What if the evil people knew he was going to run his fat mouth? And so
I have a conspiracy.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it, V.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready? Don't tell nobody. Shit's our secret. Don't tell anyone. when they had that New York City blackout, right? Remember, just the American flag was lit up, right?
Mhm.
I think that they took him out and they put, you know, like how they do body doubles that they do for
Yes.
movies. I think they staged his death to get him to Gitmo so he can snitch on all these people. Because this guy was such a narcissistic fuck. Remember, he had a deformed egg-shaped dick. And he was doing all this crazy shit. So this guy already had fucking mental problems. So I don't see him trying to kill himself in prison because he's the type of guy that would get his dick sucked by a guard. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that twisted. So I don't make it far-fetched. And I think that's how they caught Ghislaine. And now Ghislaine is snitching. I don't even think she's in the New York City prison. I think she's in Gitmo. And they got her little ass because she's going to tell, because she wants to be hot boxing it in general pop with the ladies. Remember, she tried to get bail.
Well, there's flight plans. There's flight plans for Air Force Two that went from New York to Gitmo the day before the actual arrest happened. So I'm sure she was gone and they did a thing because then she's been on video. They never showed her. They never showed there's no mug shot. There's none of that. None of that.
There were some interesting statistics on the removal of Jeffrey Epstein when they had that electric out for that. We were talking about the electricity went out that night, and I don't have the statistics in front of me because I know you're going to bring that up, but it was something crazy. Like the last time that there was that blackout was exactly like 42 years ago. It was like 42 minutes long, and it was all like President Clinton's like presidential number. 42, I believe, or whatever, right? And so there was a bunch of 42 numbers that were connected to that Jeffrey Epstein night of you have to look that up. It was like,
I gotta look that up.
The amount of people was like 44,000 people. It was like it's one of those crazy number tricks that everyone likes to do.
It's always about the numbers. Did you guys just see that John Lewis was a 33rd degree Mason?
I did not.
They all are.
They all are, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good point, V. They really usually are.
How many levels you have to get to? I mean, well, what's the top?
33 is the highest.
33 is the highest.
33, highest level. Interesting.
Yeah,
you can go back and read that even our forefathers, the people that founded our country, all Masons.
33rd, mostly all.
But you got to think that Khazarian mafia mingled in there. So there's some of those criminals in the Masons. There's some of those criminals in the church. There's some of those criminals in all walks of life. There's good Masons that don't believe in all that dark, miserable shit, that really believe in like the foundation of like our evolving as a society. So like the evil ones, those are these guys. Like we don't have all bad cops. We got a couple little bad ones. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks that they do this sneaky shit. Like they're too pussy to like really come at you face forward. They gotta infiltrate everything. Even the school systems. They want to fucking chip our kids. Sick.
I think a lot of it seems to happen in our Ivy League schools as well. Like, why is all the corruption come out of Harvard and Yale and these Ivy League?
They were started by secret societies. They were started by the secret societies. They were their schools for their elite. Only in the recent years have they started they had to let others into the school, but they kept their secret society separate.
I mean, guys, isn't it weird? I mean, when you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, which we just were, and then you just mentioned Ivy League schools, and then you say, why did Jeffrey Epstein have an office at Harvard? Like, why did he have his own office at Harvard? And why was he donating several $1 million toward these genetic programs and dealing with like a lot of our health people? And then you see all of the Hollywood connections to Jeffrey Epstein. And then you see our connections between the National Health Institute and the World Health Organization, and then the celebrities. And why are they all hanging out together? And what is the connection with Jeffrey Epstein and all them? And then that's when we go back to, it's all connected. It's all connected.
They're a gang. They're literally a gang.
And what is the disconnect when 1 minute you have our president come out and say, hey, we're going to stop funding the World Health Organization. And then like literally the very next day you had Lady Gaga and Barack Obama and these guys throwing a celebration for the WHO and raising money for them. It's like, if anything, that should make you say, it's disconnected. Like, why are all these people on one side and then these people on another? It does seem like there is a big fight going on that's not
good
being
versus evil.
And let me ask some more questions while we're at it, since we brought up the whole COVID-19. How come when this COVID-19 came out in the very beginning, the first like 30 days, every celebrity, every politician had it. Everyone caught it. Everyone was sick. And then now the numbers are like way, way higher, and there's way more cases and there's way more testing, but you're hearing about an occasional person catching it, but we're just not seeing anything like we saw with the kickoff of the whole thing. I mean, right, it was like literally, doesn't it, when you look back now, seem like there was a kickoff to COVID-19? Like we
Well, I
saw
feel like
all.
Tom Hanks was the first to have it. I hate to
I
bring
mean,
up my friend.
Weird. Tom
Voice
Hanks is the
man.
first one. Doesn't make any sense. You know, we saw videos of coming out on Twitter of people with like blood coming out of their eyes and their mouth in China, falling over, going into convulsions, right to Tom Hanks having fucking COVID-19. And I look back, I mean, look, I never was a firm believer in all the hype, but I think all of us in the beginning were like, what's going on here? And now you just look back and say, my God, did they freaking pull off one on us in the beginning or what? It's just nuts. What do you think? I mean,
Pandemic.
I haven't got your thoughts on that, V. I mean, I don't see you wearing a mask right now, but your thoughts. Do you think that this was an intentional kickoff then?
Well, I believe, like many viruses, that this was a man-made in a fucking lab virus, and I do believe that this was released as a part of a biological war against us. And I believe that the people that came out sick, quote unquote, some people are sick, some people aren't, some people are getting paid to promote that agenda, you know, that fear. And a lot of hospitals and cities are getting government funding for the more cases. So there's memos of basically them telling them to write everything off as COVID. You got hit by a car, COVID. You got asthma, COVID. You died of this, COVID. So they can get more money. So again, it's not far-fetched because we're dealing with pharma. We're dealing with all these corrupt fucking people that have already been poisoning us, killing us. And now they want to crash the economy. They want to get us to hate each other, push their fucking fear agenda. But also remember that mass shit hides their little criminal fucking empire as they're doing their fucking shady shit trying to control us.
And
they take our guns away. Remember, you can't carry if you have a fucking face covering. You know what I'm saying? So
well,
they're very smart.
Let me ask you a question. And then Leslie, I'll switch it over to you first, because this is where I start getting like, man, you know, I was the biggest jock rider ever of Trump and this administration. I mean, people hated me for it, but I'm starting to give that 5 to 10% window just so I'm not a sucker. You know, like that little part inside of me. It's like, am I getting played over here on my side? Because what I don't understand is Trump putting Fauci and Birx out on display because it's part of his counter plan? Like, did we go in there to Wuhan with President Xi, and did we flip the virus into something less dangerous than they thought? Because this is my conspiracy, is that we went in there to Wuhan, we did something with the adrenochrome where it made some celebrities really sick, and we were able to target them to people who were using it. Maybe we did that because I heard that, you know, that they were making it in that same place in Wuhan, and if that's true or not, but that's what Wikipedia says, so it's got to be true.
Yeah. Well, you can find a patent for it, so you can actually see the lab name on it, so it does match
which is
up.
exactly like a bunny rabbit, which is just
Chrome. There is a patent for it in Wuhan, of all places.
And then I sit there and go, okay, that's pretty strange. But I say maybe we went in there because, you know, Trump was the first ever official to be brought in for dinner up into the Forbidden City, and maybe they had a little deal where they switched out the virus. It was part of the plan, and then they put Birx and Fauci out there, and thinking that it was going to kill millions of people, it was going to get the vaccines put in us, and then all of a sudden it's not happening, and so he puts them out there like, hey, you guys are the experts. And I mean, is he just playing chess? Like, what's going on? Or is he part of it? What's going on? God, I'm so sick of this. Arrest somebody.
I'm also getting, like you are, Brian, frustrated because if you have all these sealed indictments and you have all this proof, I just don't, again, it's like somebody needs to go down for this. I don't understand how such evil can continue on if it's right out there. It seems like in plain sight for them to go down.
They have to do that because if you think about it, look at the people. Let's say right now you posted you were a Trump supporter. How many of your friends and family are going to tear you a fucking new asshole? Let's say you're against abortion. You say, I'm against abortion. How many people are going to tear you down? So picture them trying to just rip that Band-Aid off that your favorite celebrities, your politicians, royalty are involved in human trafficking, involved in poisoning people through vaccines, literally involved in mass genocide. Hitler is nothing compared to what these people have been doing to us for decades. So to break that type of news, one, you have to have all the evidence to back it up. Because remember, anyone that says they support Trump, everything he says is a lie. Oh, he said drink disinfectant. No, he said there's treatments that are disinfectants. So they made him out to look like a liar. But then it turned out he wasn't a liar. So picture trying to break this type of news, and everyone already hates this man. You got to do it the legal way, and you got to show straight facts, because then they can't fight you. Right now, everybody just wants to fight you and call race wars and do all this other shit. So,
okay,
yeah.
So you say facts. Okay, facts. So what are the facts? Bill Barr, John Huber,
The
407.
facts are we caught Epstein. The facts are we caught Ghislaine. The facts are there's been multiple government agencies with people leaving, being arrested, pedophilia, mass arrests. Literally, the DOJ has posted over 7,000 arrests this year for human trafficking. So again, to break this type of fucking news, people can't even handle this. Notice everybody's just fighting over rioting and mass. Meanwhile, there's fucking war, horrible shit going down right now. No one's talking about it. So that's what they do. These people are master magicians. They're deflecting us all to not look in the right direction where the real shit is going down.
And what do you think is going to happen, Leslie? Are they going to get to the point where these cities and the rioting are in the Democratic cities get so bad in the next month or two where they call in martial law? And then now that martial law is in, that's when they're going to do the mass arrests at one point? Because like the only way this can go down is if there is big mass arrests. And how do you stop all the looting and rioting? I mean, is this what we're coming to right now? Is this the cover? Is COVID-19 and this Antifa the cover to do the martial law? Or is it the infiltration B plan for the president countering what they're doing because he knew what they're going to do because he has a looking glass?
Right. So it's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of questions in one. But, here's the thing. When it comes to, like I said, you guys, I had lots of money stolen from me. It took 7 years for them to build the case to go to trial in federal court, because they don't go to court unless they know they're going to win. And everything, you know how courts are, the simplest, tiniest thing and shit's thrown out. And you're dealing still with the swamp. You're still dealing with Congress that wants to block things. You're still dealing with judges that want to block things. You're still dealing with those things. It's not, they still can't dismiss the case on General Flynn fully. Mm-hmm. Right? Because they know he's going to be director of FBI. It's all over. Right? So they're still blocking. President Trump does not have the power people think the president has. Right? He is doing everything he can, but he has to do it within the law because they're trying to impeach him. Well, they're just waiting for him to step out one way to impeach him. And you say, well, they have all this evidence. We know it all. But there is a large percentage of our population that doesn't believe it, that will never believe it, no matter what. He could go arrest 100 people right now and they will not believe they did anything wrong. And they will literally look what they did over a criminal. They're burning cities months later. And this, I think, is more of a siren to Trump that says, listen, if you continue what you're doing, we're just going to burn more cities. So he's got to play.
They're making the narrative for the mainstream that it's chaos in America. Like, this is your make America great again. I mean, that's what the left wing, left arm, strong propaganda machines are doing right now. Is everything
anybody still watching mainstream media is just flat out stupid.
But what do we do? I mean, we say, like, again, is he going to do this before the election?
No, he won't be able to. They'll call an election interference.
So here we go. Mail-in voting, lockdown, pandemic 2.0. We know it's all coming. Dr. Birx is talking about putting on a mask now. She's even talking about masking people inside of their own home, your children and yourselves, for everyone.
People need to just pull up their big boy pants and head out to the polls and vote. And fuck what they say. That's the point, is that we are supposed to be waking up to not do that, right? A digital revolution instead of a civil revolution. All we do is just say, we're not doing that. We don't need to go out. What they want, like I've said always, is right now, they only have one side pissed off causing chaos in the streets. What they are trying to do is incite the other side. What is it going to be? Masks, shutting down our business, not letting our kids go to school, right? That's what infuriates us. And they're trying to get us out in the street as well. So
I
that
appreciate your passion, Leslie, but we're out of time. It's been an hour. V, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And
Thank you guys.
hope to have you on the show more often. B Dog, of course, coming live. What is that? A stripper pole I see over your left shoulder?
Pole fitness pole.
Pole
Actually, it's an exercise tool, not for me, of course.
It's a good look.
Hey V, why don't you promote your podcast real quick for everybody, because I know you have one.
You could follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and it's Bagels and A&D Shade. Yeah, so just follow me. I'm always doing some weird shit.
Bagels and
Awesome. I love
Bagels
watching
and
your
shades.
Facebook streams. You know, you keep it real. It's like having, it's like, I don't want to like typecast you as one of those New York, Jersey girls, but man, when I watch you, it's like, that's exactly what you are. And it's like, I think you're a star. So
I'm proud to be from Brooklyn, but
okay, Brooklyn's in the
just
house.
not
That's
the
what, I guess
best
that's
at
what I was
expressing
wondering. Where are you
myself.
from? Brooklyn's in the house.
Oh, yeah.
But
Shout
we're
out
all
to my
in
New
Florida
Yorkers.
now, in the land of the free.
That's right.
Mhm.
All right.
All
Well,
right, guys.
stay woke, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. Everybody be safe.
Bye.
Safe.
Bye.